the next part of this process is all pinning. We're going to pin everything on. And that way we can make any sort of little adjustments. So grab your calyx leaves and remember how we've done the curves. You want one curving one way and one curving the other. So pick your favourite two for the front. I'm going to go there and there. In fact, it might be an idea to start getting some shape on these leaves. I'm not going to do the bottom curl back out, but I am going to start by just putting, so I'm holding at the point where we've got that little bit of pipe cleaner and just bringing it up and then relaxing it, and it will start taking some beautiful shape instantly. Look at that. So again, just up and out a little bit. Just do that to all the petals. And you can start seeing that bell shape. That's why having that band really tight around the waist helps all of these sort of sit very proud and very nicely. You're going to find a few bits in the way, so just, it's all about the pins. There, you can see that sort of bell shape forming already. And this will be the constant fiddling of petals if you're like me. Okay, so the next thing to go on are the calyx leaves. So those kind of curl back. And again with the pins. And you're going to place these in the gaps. So I'm just going to help it with a little bit of a curl. That work all the way around. So as you come around this side, you want to use the ones that are curling towards the front, and then these sort of little bits just protrude ever so slightly above the green sort of bottom line of the bodice. That. And the next one. So we're not worrying too much about what's going on at the bottom of the skirt, just sort of this section. Let me go back to the other side and put these on. Everything's all quite stiff at the moment, but it will ease out. and then the final one at the back. So there, you can instantly adds that sort of dramatic extra layer to the skirt. Okay, those are the sort of calyx leaves. We're going to start placing a few of the swirls. In your kit there will be a sort of a spiral pattern, or a pattern for the wings, and what you're going to use is the sort of the tightest curl. You can use that as a guideline, and what we're going to do is create 2 curls with 2 of these, and it's going to sort of follow that kind of path. I use the tightest curl. You've got on the wing pattern, there's sort of 3, and they go from smaller to bigger. If you use the tightest one, that will give you a starting point, and you'll get something like that. And then this, the wire's still on here at the moment, but that's going to go there. So it's going to start from where this calyx leaf meets, and it's just going to come up and over. I am going to chop off that wire, and obviously when you're doing the curls you want to be aware that if you did what I did, there is no sort of bend back in the top there, so when you're manipulating it, be careful that your wire doesn't poke out. So to chop this off and have no wire, just grab that, shunt it up ever so slightly, then chop, and then release, and then the wire just gets absorbed into the end of the felt. So what I'm going to do is just pull that off and pin that and the calyx leaf in together. The nice thing about this is that because it stands forward as well, it creates quite a striking accent on this bodice. So I'm going to bring it up, bring it round and over, and then we're going to use the green pearl-headed pins. These are the ones that will end up staying in, and you're just going to put 3 in the top. You probably can't see this on camera, so I will scooch it down, but there. And what that's done is that's gone through this part and through the bodice, and it's just kind of pinned it all in place, and that will hold that there like so. Then what we're going to do is exactly the same on the other side. So you're going to have a lovely pattern. I've just got a photocopy of a wing for my spirals, but the principle will still be the same. The tightest curl is where you're going to start, and just bend it round and follow the pattern. It will give you a starting point. And then you can refine so that you've got more of a swirl instead of some sort of little angles there. And then you just match the other one up, and we'll get that back on the mannequin. So swirl number 2, again, just shunt that wire up, drop it off. And then we're going to pin that base and calyx together. Bring that up and over. It is Fiddlyville, but a little perseverance and there you go. If you notice that I've got a bit of the bodice, a bit more of the bodice stuck out this side. So I'm just going to push that back down when I pin it. And then match up my pins with the ones on the other side. There we go. And just pull it, pull the bits around as you need them. And you can do all sorts of swirls and things, but that just creates a very simple but very striking accent to that bodice. And this, all of these leaves and stuff, they're going to get glued into place. So there we go. That's the calyx and the first swirls in place. I'm going to look and make sure that you're happy with where that's going, because now what we're going to do is take all the swirls and the calyxes off, and we're going to finish off this back piece, and then we're going to start gluing and really making some kind of commitments to putting everything on here in the right place. So we're back to the bare bones. We've just got the skirt and the bodice. Now what we're going to do is finish this back. Everything's working. Everything's where we want it to be. I'm quite happy with how this is gone. So we're going to undo it. And I'm just going to redo this at the back and get a couple of pins in. And I'm sort of angling one way and one the other. And those pins will probably now stay in there. Line up the bodice at the front, and you want a good amount of tension in this as well. If your bodice is if you feel that it's a little flimsy to put under that sort of tension, that's what that green strip is for. You can cut it down a bit thinner, or you can have it full width. Just felt it into the back, and then you can really get some pull on that as well. Just remember to take the stretch out of it before you attach it to your bodice. So that's just going to lay down there, and that sort of blends out fine. This is going to come round. Let's just make sure we haven't gone off script at front. So I'm going to put in a holding pin. Just for a second. I'm going to bring that round, and there's the middle of our back. So we want it sort of over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off. That's the middle of the back. That's where it's going to fold back. So what, 15 mil, 20 mil? Then we're going to fold that back. like so. So there's the middle. I'm going to fold it back just a little bit past that. Pull it nice and tight. And then we're going to put in those 3 green pearl-headed pins. Put one at the top, one at the bottom, and then one halfway between the 2. There. So that now looks like she's got a buttoned up bodice at the back. We're all good at the front. Take my holding pin out, I think. So we're pretty much on the home stretch with regards to this now. You can, as I said, you can put that strip of green felt in if you want to have, you know, your bodice more secure, but do be aware that obviously that's going to bulk out your waistline. Okay, I think what I will do now is curl out the bottom of the petals. Then we'll add in the calyx, we'll put on the swirls, and that's going to be this section done. And so here we go with the shaping of the BlueBelle, and what we're going to aim to achieve is we kind of come out, we go back in slightly, and then we've got that sort of kick at the bottom. You're going to need to find something round. I'm going to use the top of my tacky glue. It seems to work. And play with the ones at the back first, just in case you don't like it. Hold the tacky, or hold your whatever round thing it is you are using, and this is about a 20mm diameter, so if that helps. Roll it up and go past the point that you think it should be. So I've kind of gone round like that. Then bring it up and just loosen it off, and then you just take that sort of shape. You can put that extra little kick in the end if you want, and that's what you're going to do all the way round. This so begins the endless fiddle of petals. But it's worth it. Just make sure that your lines are nice and smooth. You haven't got any kind of angles. And just work your way round. Check yourself off against the previous petal. And then move on to the next one. And you should slowly but surely see the whole thing kind of really start taking shape. And again, just take your time with it. See, I've got a real sort of hard. So just put something larger a larger diameter. And that should help sort of even out that sort of curve. But just go round it, go round all your petals first, and then go back and fiddle, and you know, fiddle some more. Almost there. You can see it's starting to really take shape, that sort of bell skirt. I will confess this project has been a labour of love, and I'm pretty sure that there are a few of you now that are cursing me, but it's going to look amazing. It was one of those projects that, you know, once you get it in your head, you absolutely and positively have to do it. And this was one of those projects, and I'm hoping that you will all enjoy it as much as I have. I can't wait to see some of the individual spins that get put on this as well. Okay, so it's a little bit crude, but I don't want to just sit here fiddling on camera. You know, that becomes an endless sort of fiddle and adjustment after the thing's finished. So I'm going to leave it like that for the petally part, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the calyx leaves back into place. We're going to pin them all, and then we're going to glue them so that obviously we don't have pins. You could put pins and leave pins in if you wanted to. You know, you can use completely different coloured pins, you know, whatever you feel like doing, but I'm going to glue mine. So I'm going to get the calyx leaves and some pins, and we'll start doing that. Just very quickly, I'm going to felt these two parts together. This might work, it might not, but all I'm going to do is just attach. I'm going to have the calyx at the front, the curlicue at the back, and I'm just going to join them together, which I think will make a nicer, more seamless transition on when we apply it to the mannequin, rather than fighting with two parts. I'm going to fight with one part that keeps trying to pull apart. So just over the top. Obviously remember you've got a wire in that curly, so I'm just going to stab it through both ways, but ending on a sort of a stab through the back. There, so we've kind of made that one piece now. It'd be a little bit, hopefully a little bit easier to handle. So grab the rest of your calyx leaves and we're going to start putting these into place. I'm going to start at the front and putting these in place. Initially we're going to pin, so let's get that sort of calyx lined up. I just pinned in there, and take your curly up over the bust and pin it with your 3 green-headed pins. We're starting to be sort of final now. This is where things are going to be. So take your time. Yeah, we've got that transition from flat through to protruding. Just make sure your curves are nice. Like that. And then I'm going to use super glue gel. I have my trusty pen glue, but I don't know how much is left in here. So, and to do this, I'm going to pull it forward, put some glue behind, and push it back, pull the pin out, and just hold it in place. Don't worry if you do get your pins glued. A little bit of sort of twist and pull should. But I'm just going to pop that pin back in lower, and that pin can hold it while we move on to the next one. So again, get the calyx in place and pin it and sort out this top bit. These can be obviously adjusted, but for now I just want to get it stuck in. Lining up the curves, making sure we're happy. So again, just pulling it forward, getting some glue in there and pushing the whole thing back. The super glue gel, as I say many times, does give you a little bit more sort of working time. I tend to find that liquid super glue runs everywhere, mostly over me. So I'm an advocate for the gel. I'm just going to pop another pin in a bit further up, so my glue is kind of there. I'll just leave that to set. Then go round. Glue the next one into place. Just work all the way round. Remember having all of them face towards the front. Pin the next one. Like that. And release. Glue and repin. Once I've got all of these on, then I'm going to leave it to kind of set, and I really am going to leave it this time good sort of 10 minutes or so. I'm not going to do my usual impatient self. And start trying to move on before the glue's dry. And the next one. So pin it, check it, move it if you need to. These kind of sort of calyx leaves just to bridge the gap in between the petals. Otherwise you'd see the mannequin. Bit of glue. And the final one, centre back. Let's pull out that bottom pin. There we go. And then yeah, we're going to glue. Oops, sorry, I'm wandering off camera. And glue it and the pin and everything, and then just straighten it up before the glue dries. And there we have it. So that I'm now going to leave that for about 10 minutes so this glue really starts sort of drying. But there you can see we've really got some striking features going on with this. We'll sort out up here in a bit, but there, to begin, you can really start seeing it taking shape now. So I have gone around and taken all the pins out, and then it occurred to me that I've actually put the front two on the wrong way. If you can see, the curves are going that way, and I was bringing everything else in towards the front. So what I'm going to do to solve that problem is pull it away very, very slightly, and I'm just going to nip the minimum amount that I can get away with nipping off of there. And then I'm going to do exactly the same again on this side. So I decided to sort of put this in because obviously things do go wrong, and rather than being stuck going, oh gosh, what do I do, I'm going to show you how I would do it. And we are just nipping there. So we've taken a little bit out of the back, out of the bodice, but it's all going to be hidden again. So I can now glue these on the right way round. So what I will do now is exactly the same procedure as before. I'm going to pin that in place roughly. I'm just going to put a couple of holding pins up here for a second, just while that's getting sorted out. So there we go. And then I'll bring this forward. Now obviously we do have some glue already, but I'm just going to pop in some more. Push the whole thing back. and I'm going to hold it in place. I'm going to add a couple more pins just up high. That should do it. That should hold that in place while that dries. And I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. So pop my point. See how that looks so much better now. I was looking at it thinking it was my eyes, but no. Oops. Okay, a couple of holding pins. And then just spend a moment and then re-glue at the back. So, you know, don't be afraid to pull things off and rearrange them. I'm just going to pop another pin in there just so it holds it. So I'm going to let that set again. I'm probably going to leave this for another sort of 15-20 minutes and just really let that sit and solidify in place. Then we're going to come back and it's going to be time to look at doing the wings and just refining this sort of curls at the front, see if anything else needs to happen there. So we're on the home stretch, so to speak. It's been about 20 minutes or so. So this should have set. There we go. Much better. Now we're facing the right way. So what I'm going to do now is redo the pins up here with the green ones that you get in the kit. And my camera is ever so slightly too short, so let me see if I can rectify that. Hopefully this will give you a slightly better view. So I'm just going to pop out the pins on one side, these holding pins, and do one side at a time. Just bring it forward. Just want to arrange that bodice piece at the back so it's nice and flat. Have a look. I'm happy with that. So 3 pins. Like that. And you've gone through the curly, through the bodice and into the mannequin, and then that will hold everything nicely in place. Repeat on the other side. And then match up your pins on the first side. There. So we've got a very nice little detailed accent, but then that helps to just hold everything all in place. Okay, So we're on to the wings. For your wings, you will have a pattern in your kit. This is just my photocopy of one that I made that I liked the look of. And to make the wings, you're going to need 3. Well, you're going to need 6, but it's 3 for one wing. And like we did with creating the bodice piece, all you're going to do is just follow the design with each and make 3 single pieces. Then we'll join all 3 together, or all 3 of these wires together at the bottom, and then you'll replicate that and make a second wing. So we're going to do that. I'm going to make the individual pieces just by following the pattern. Just hold it and work it round. Then when you're happy with this piece, get your second leaf and just follow your first one. You want these to match. It doesn't matter if they match the pattern, but they must match each other. You could obviously go completely off script and do whatever wings you like, but these are fun and cute. So okay, I don't think a lot of that came out on camera, but my hands are in the way. However, we've got 2 that pretty much match each other, and that's what we're going to want for having the wings symmetrical. So that one goes that way, and that one goes that way. And then we make the next curl in the sequence. So the medium one. So the pattern will give you a good place to start, but then bring back in the first one and match that second one. So the way that I kind of design these, so it looks like each one is unfurling just a little bit more than the one previous. And then we're going to make a second one to match that, and then the third one just has a little bit of a curl right at the very top, so it's the highest one. So again, you make the 3 for one side, and then obviously copy them for the other. You kind of want all 3 to meet at the bottom. So I'm just going to play with these now. I think this bottom one could do with being a little more curled. it's like that. And then we're just going to match them to another set. So just spend a little bit of time matching up your pieces. Like so. And then once you've got all three, we're going to join them at the tip here. So I'm just going to make the other set really quickly off of these, and we're going to come back and join them all together. So I've made my matching sets, and what we're going to do is just take number 1 and number 2, join them together so that the bottoms are about level, and just twist those wires together like so. Like that. Then bring the third one, and they're in, this is the back of your mannequin. The tightest curl is on the outside, the medium curl, and then the large. So again, I'm going to line up the bottom and then take that one and just twist that now with the other two. And then come back in and sort out. It does go a little skew if, but there you can see the curls go from smaller to bigger. I'm going to do exactly the same with the other set. So I have both of my wings made. They all meet level at the bottom, but if you look, what I've done is this one staggers that way, and that one sort of staggers that way. It just adds a little bit more dimension to the wings, so they're not straight out the back, they've got a sort of slight grade to them. So we'll bring the felting surface back in. What I'm going to do here is just felt through either side of these wires, just right at the very bottom. I'm going to use the corner of my mat here. Just kind of bring that little bottom sort of 10-15 mil just into sort of its own sort of solid. Do that with the other one as well. There we go. So now we've got our wings. We're going to look at placement, then add in however much wire we need and cover it, and then apply it to the mannequin. Here's our mannequin, and the idea is to place these wings so that this kind of falls in line with the top of the bodice. We'll use a bit of the wire to tuck down inside, but this is the one that sort of grades out that way, so that will go on her left, and this is the one that grades out that way, and that one will go on the right. And hopefully this time I won't swap them over like I did at the front. This looks about right for that, and just pin in place. Just put in a couple of holding pins to begin with and turn it round. See what it looks like from the front, because you want this, kind of gives it that sort of shoot. So this is where you get to play with your positioning. I mean, you put this wherever you like. You can put it up a bit higher. Just fan them out a little more. This really will be completely your decision as to what you think looks best. I'm going to go for something slightly lower down, I think. And I'm going to fan these out a little more. Pin them back in place. And, you know, just get a good look all the way round. So I quite like that fan from the side, from the front. So now what I'm going to try and do is recreate that on the other side. So this actually needs to fan that way. Which I think is the complete opposite of what I was going to do originally. But you know, okay, I think that's, yes, there. So that will go there. A couple more pins. While we decide final placement. That's looking very striking. I think we'll go with that. And you don't have to put these wings on. I mean, you could have big sort of curlies coming off of the bell skirt. Maybe you could have them coming up and round. There's, you know, let your imagination run wild. So what I'm going to do is chop this wire off about here, and because I'm so close to the top of my bodice, I'm actually going to wrap this part in florist tape. We're really starting to see this come together now, and these wings just need a little more. Let me get some light on them. Just need a little more work on the wings. You want to keep this wire as long as you can. Obviously the weight is up here, so it will stop it from levering. If you just cut it off here, you've got a very, very small sort of point, and this could sort of topple. Whereas if we wrap this in florist tape and put it down inside of the bodice, and maybe even try and get it tucked into the band of the skirt, that's going to hold these in really solidly. In order to do that, we're just going to get our wire cutters, and I can see that that's where the band of my skirt is. So I want to come down just maybe about 5 mil or so lower than that and snap off. You can wrap this in wool. Use some of the emerald and wrap it if you want. This is so close to the top of the bodice, so I think I said before that I'm just going to wrap it in florist tape and line this bit up here with the top of the bodice. So there's the band of my skirt. I'm going to go just a little lower and snip that off as well. So my wings are there. There's some more of these green pins which I'm going to use to hold this in. So we're going to put a little cluster, maybe just 2 in the wings. It will really help hold it on, as well as the glue. So we'll see what that looks like. To begin with, I'm going to take this one and grab a bit of that florist tape, the green, which is in the kit, pull and stretch, and then wrap it over, hook it round on itself, and then wrap all the way down to the end. Make sure you go past the end, and then squash it into a point, and that will help guide it in when we're putting it down the back. Like that. So there we go. Bring the mannequin back in. And this is going to fit very nicely just down in there. May not even need the pins, but that's one. Exactly the same with the other one. Grab a bit of florist tape. past the end. And then I'm going to push it down in. There we go. Now I'm just going to form these up the back just a little. I think we are going to need those pins. I don't want it pulling the bodice around, so a bit of gluing and pinning. I'm going to put two green pins. I think the wings are sort of casting shadows. But so I've got 2 pins in there. And then the same on this side. I think that looks quite pretty. You could glue as well. I think I will, as this is going to be travelling around with me, and that extra stability. So just pulling those pins away, and these pins will be staying in. So I'm going to put some glue around the pins too. Push those on. And then repeat on this side. Just give it a few seconds. And now I'll leave that to dry for another few minutes or so. Perhaps give it another 10 minutes. And you can see that it's coming along beautifully now. That is pretty much done. You can most certainly call that a finished thing. So those pins in the back aren't coming out, so now it's glued, it can just stay there. If you are like me and are a complete masochist when it comes to projects, and you look at something and you think that's lovely, but I want to put something blue up here. There's an awful lot of green, so I just want something to break that up. And grab your felting surface and a little bit of the cornflower blue, and you're going to need this template. And what we're going to do here is just pull off a pinch, and it's not very much. Grab your needle and just felt yourself a little triangle up in this tip. Just utilise tip. And if you make about 5 of them the same size, if you've got the little pocket scales, just weigh one of these, and then if you join them together, you get this little, if you put it up this way, it's a crown, I suppose, but we're going to put this as a sort of a decorative sort of neck piece. So we're back to the mannequin. This filming from upright to the surface means a lot of hopping around, but there, and if you put it up that way, it creates a very nice, just brings that blue in as well. And then you could even pop the green pearl pins. I'll make sure there's enough in the kit for doing this as well. Just pop the pearl pins around on each of the points. It will help to hold it down, but then it will also make it look a little bit more like a necklace. Come on, get in there. There we go. So there you have it. There she is, done. The BlueBelle. This has been quite the project, so I hope that you all have enjoyed this as much as I have. It's been a full project. There have been some good bits, there have been some disastrous bits, but all in all, I think that should get you a very, very nice result. And you know, it's using some of the templates which are just out in general other kits. You've got the feather template, that's the 100mm feather template. You've got the DAF leaf template, the petal template is specific to this kit, and as I said at the beginning of, I think, the tutorial, which seems so long ago, we were planning on making a daisy with this, and my very good friend made one and brought it over. There it is, the daisy, the huge, the massive daisy. So thank you, B, for making all those petals. I will put weights and measures somewhere for creating those petals, and that can be a whole little side project, but we don't want to detract from the main piece. There we go, the BlueBelle, all done. And if you've got any questions at all, you can hit me up on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and I'm all over the place, I think. Social media, got to love it. Right, any questions, feel free to send me pictures of your mannequins in your own little design ideas, any spins that you put on it. I would absolutely love to see your mannequins and your BlueBelles. That's it, the project is done. I'm going to go and have another cup of tea, and I wish you all a very crafty day.